Sunday, September 16th was another sunny, beautiful summer day in Israel. Near the mall in Epsiode, an American-Israeli citizen and the father of four waited at a corner as he was going grocery shopping for his wife. He never saw the Palestinian terrorist who snuck up behind him. The terrorist was looking to kill an American, looking for revenge against our president, who has refused to follow the status quo and finance Palestinian terrorism or the cult of the United Nations. The Arab radicals and terrorists in Israel target not only Jews, but Americans as well. In a split second, the terrorists changed the lives of this man's family forever. The man was Epsiode, a Bible-believing Zionist TV and radio show host and an international speaker on all things Israel. He loved Israel and the Jewish people with his heart and ultimately with his life. Tonight's program is dedicated to the life and legacy of Epsiode. First, I'm going to warn you. I'm now going to show you the graphic and shocking security camera footage of the incident and then take you to Ari's funeral, attended by thousands of mourners.
הנה זה.
Good evening. I'm Laurie Cardoza-Moore, and welcome to PJTN Online. Our mission at Proclaiming Justice to the Nations is to educate Christians about their biblical responsibility to stand with our Jewish brethren and defend the state of Israel against the rise of anti-Semitism. We accomplish that goal by producing award-winning documentary films and television programs, broadcasting them around the globe to 2.6 billion viewers. I also want to invite you to consider becoming a PJTN watchman. What is the role of a watchman? Why should Christians stand as watchmen for Israel at this crucial time in history? God told the prophet Ezekiel in chapter 33 that if the watchman fails to warn the inhabitants of the city when the enemy is advancing, that if any innocent blood is spilled, it will be required of that watchman. However, if the watchman warns the inhabitants and the inhabitants refuse to listen, if any innocent blood is spilled, it will be required of them. Just as the watchman alerts the inhabitants of the city of impending danger, so is the prophet responsible for warning the people about the consequences of their actions. Ancient Israelite cities were built with towers connected to their walls where the watchman would sit. In order to warn the inhabitants of approaching enemies, the watchman would blow the shofar or sound the alarm. As a PJTN watchman, you commit to partner with PJTN prayerfully to help prepare the soil of the hearts of our viewers, and financially by helping us take this biblical message to a global audience, fulfilling the words of the prophet as we combat the enemy of anti-Semitism in our communities worldwide. Your monthly donation will help ensure PJTN remains on the front lines and in the headlines of this all-encompassing war. We educate and activate a global audience of Christians, Jews, and people of conscience to stand against the growing threat of anti-Semitism. God told the prophet Elijah that he had preserved 7,000 who had not bowed their knee to Baal. Our goal for 2018 is 7,000 new watchmen. At PJTN, we know that there are watchmen around the world who have not bowed their knee to the false doctrine of replacement theology. And how do I know that? Because I hear from many of you. It is replacement theology that has historically fueled anti-Semitism in Christianity, using the New Testament scriptures to justify this unbiblical, heretical teaching. Anti-Semitism is born out of ignorance. The purpose of our award-winning programs is to confront that ignorance with biblical truth. God told the prophet Obadiah in the last days he would wipe out the descendants of Edom because they stood by while their brother Jacob was held in captivity and they did nothing. How will God judge the church? Because they stood by, historically through the pogroms, through the Inquisition, through the Holocaust, and by and large, Christians are standing by again today as we witness a global rise of anti-Semitism toward our Jewish brethren. With a minimum donation of just $20 a month, you can partner with PJTN to confront this growing threat in your community. So please go to pjtn.org/donate now. The tragic murder of Ari Fuld is just the latest incident of Palestinian terrorism that you seldom, if ever, hear about. Since 2015, dozens of Israelis have been killed in stabbings, shootings, and car rammings. Yet, if a Palestinian is killed, often in the act of terrorism, the media will not hesitate to tell you that a militant has died at the hands of an Israeli. This is why PJTN is so important. We bring you the truth and the facts on the ground. Truth you'll not get from the so-called mainstream media. As I explained before, Ari fought on many fronts for Israel. As a reserve member of the IDF paratroopers, he was ready to go to the front lines when his country called. Ari talks about how he is always on call and how he found a way to help his fellow soldiers.
I'm always on call. I'm the commander of first responders team in my area where I live, the anti-terror team, and I'm part of an elite paratroopers unit in the IDF. And in 2006, while running this day camp, and I get called out, and I pick up the phone and what's going on, and they say, you're drafted. When I was leaving the house, I gave my wife a hug and kiss goodbye, and put my hands on my children's head to give them a blessing like you do on Friday night, and the fingers are shaking. Because reality is people don't come back from war. We ended up in an apple orchard, 37 kilometers in. We were hiding out. We got an order to go after the marketplace, the kasbah of the area, and we were hit very, very badly. So the medic then came up to me and we were checking my vest and my bag and ripped out a piece of shrapnel out of my bag, which should have cut me in half. So we trekked back to Israel all night long. We haven't eaten anything, we haven't slept, there was nothing going on. We arrived over the border, we collapsed, literally collapsed. And we were alone. And the IDF says, we can't come pick you up from the border. We're scared of missile fire. So keep walking in. And we just couldn't move. We had no energy left. So we collapsed. And then we hear a motor coming, and a Jeep and a trailer is driving up from the Israeli side. On the top of the Jeep, it says, we love the IDF, and we're rubbing our eyes because for 2 weeks we haven't heard Hebrew, we haven't seen civilians. And this Jeep drives up, and the guy gets out of the front, he says in Hebrew, welcome home, what do you guys need? And we're like, water, food. He goes back to the trailer, starts pulling out juice and water and soda and sandwiches and chocolate. I will never forget that chocolate. I walk over to this guy and I grab him. I'm looking for wings on his back. Who are you? And he says his name is Rami Landau. His father's name is David Landau. And they have an organization called Standing Together. And their goal is wherever IDF soldiers are, they'll be there for them. And around 3 years ago, David Landau, the head of this organization, calls me up and he says, Ari, what are you doing? And I said, I'm in high tech. He goes, oh. I said, what's wrong? He goes, we're looking for someone to help us run the organization. So I said, can you hold on 1 second? And I put him on hold, picked up my other phone, called my office, and quit, like in a fraction of a second. The IDF has given us full clearance to go into any training areas, and we go into the most remote areas where no civilians get to. And we're buying a new truck now that's able to go to these areas and supply over 3,500 IDF soldiers on a daily basis. We felt so alone until that guy came up to the border. We want to find people who really understand that the men and women of the IDF are keeping all of us safe. That's what I'm doing 25 hours a day.
Freedom is not free. Unfortunately, Ari paid the ultimate price for that freedom, a freedom that is shared by America and Israel. That is why it's so important that we teach our children about the close bond between America and Israel, and the importance of why that bond must remain strong. In Genesis 12:3, God told Abraham, I will bless those who bless you, and he who ignores you, I will utterly destroy. We must protect the future of our children and pass to them the Judeo-Christian values on which our countries were founded. Your continued partnership and financial support will go a long way to make our biblical mandate possible. It is because of your prayers and financial support that enables PJTN to make a difference. We will not keep silent. We are on the front lines at PJTN, and it comes with a cost. I am personally inviting you to join me on the front lines of this battle. Your financial support is vital to combat enemies of our values who are massively funded and determined to defeat us. We have a special offer for 2 resources that will allow you to not only help PJTN wage this battle, but give you the vital tools to help you teach your children and your friends. This month marks the 70th anniversary of the historic Declaration of the State of Israel. God's sovereign hand can be seen all over this land. Included in the celebrations is the opening of the American Embassy right here in Jerusalem. In honor of this celebration, PJTN is offering a special 70th anniversary package, which includes a captivating new book and an award-winning DVD. Israel Rising is a unique visual story of Israel's miraculous journey from unforgiving desert to thriving nation. Thousands of years ago, the prophet Ezekiel foretold a future time in which the arid land of Israel would come alive for its people. Now this breathtaking book documents the fulfillment of this vision, as rarely seen photographs from the 1880s to the 1940s are juxtaposed with recent photos of the same locations. This book will inspire and captivate you as it illuminates Israel's foretold awakening in a new and unforgettable way. In addition, you'll receive the award-winning documentary, Israel Indivisible: The Case for the Ancient Homeland. This inspiring film examines the many political twists and turns that make Israel the world's most controversial nation. From Abraham and the Promise to the issues facing the Jewish state today, the film examines the historical, archaeological, legal, and biblical foundations for the modern state of Israel. This is a limited time offer for these 2 remarkable resources for just a one-time gift of $70 today. Your generous donation will help ensure that PJTN stays on the front lines and in the headlines of all the important issues facing Israel and our Jewish brethren. So please go to pjtn.org today. Now, you may not be aware of the fact that Jews and Christians are strictly forbidden to pray at the world's most holy site, the Temple Mount. Visiting the site is very restricted, as I found out on a recent visit there, and even silent mouthing of an amen will find you quickly ejected. This was the place where the Holy Temple sat and was destroyed by the Romans in 70 AD, and is considered by Jews as their holiest site. But it's also considered as a holy site by many Christians as well, because that's where Jesus went to pray. The Kotel, or the Western Wall, is the closest to this site that Jews are allowed to pray. It is a travesty, to say the least. Ari recently debated a leftist on the politics of the ban and the truth behind it. Let's take a look.
Back here on Debrief, continuing the conversation, a renewed debate over the Temple Mount, and right-wing lawmaker Yehuda Glick pushing for Israeli lawmakers to be allowed to visit the site. With me, Yariv Oppenheimer, former director of Peace Now, Ari Fold, assistant director of Standing Together. Ari, before the break, we heard Yariv saying that this is all about politics in a sense. What's your reaction?
You know, to masquerade as politics and saying we're trying to change the facts on the ground. The facts on the ground is that the Al-Sharif shrine and the mosque was originally called Beit al-Muqdas, which in simple English means built on the temple. The facts are, this was the place of the first and second Jewish temples. To have a law that does not allow a people to go and pray based on their religion, that I believe is apartheid. And I don't understand how we ourselves can back such a policy. If you're scared of terrorism, that's giving into terrorism.
First of all, you have to remember that many of the rabbis in the Jewish community, including some very important one for the settlements movement, declared that it's not right for Jews to go to this place. So in the first place, there was not a dilemma at all, because for the Jewish tradition, you are not supposed to go there. But the political actors are changing the game because it's political, another place to fight with the Palestinian and to show who is boss in this place. And this is why the motivation is so high. Now, I agree that the freedom of religious is an important thing, but you need to take also other things into consideration. You are not allowing, for example, Muslims to go to the Wailing Wall, right? This is a Jewish place. They can go there, but they cannot say Allahu Akbar and build a mosque there.
They can pray.
I want to see the first Muslim that will go and pray
there. Is there a law against Muslims praying at the
you know,
Kotel?
even progressive Jews.
Is there a law against Muslims praying at the Kotel? Yes or no?
No, but you have
Stop.
You have laws.
You
have laws that are saying what you can and what you cannot do in the Wailing Wall. And yes, of course. What about the reform movement that are going there and they are not allowed to do whatever they want?
So let me answer the question.
But just to finish it, eventually we are not equal. The Palestinians are living under our control, and we have an agreement with the Jordanian Waqf. I wish
Palestinian, Jordanian, make up your mind.
No, it's both, because we are not in a normal situation. I wish that we will reach an agreement with the Palestinian, and once we will do it, I can assure you that the tension around this place will become much smaller.
All right, let's pause here.
Let me get a couple of clarifications here. Number one, the Temple Mount is under Jordanian control, not Palestinian. It has nothing to do with them. Number two, the cult of the Western world doesn't have any limits on what religion can pray there, number two. Number three, again, I'm very happy that Reeves worried about religion, but the fact of the matter is we can come back on Sunday that can explain the religious backing to that, or if you'd like to, I'd be happy to explain it to you. I don't think you're really knowledgeable about that issue, but that's not the issue. I'm going to say it again. This is a rule of apartheid. To say Jews are not allowed to pray.
Let's pause on the facts on the ground for a moment.
Right.
Yariv mentioned it for a moment. We saw those images of Ariel Sharon years back, 2002. His visit there as then opposition sparked the Second Intifada in the year 2000.
You know, he is not even eating kosher.
Hold on. I'd like to get your reaction.
With all due respect, I think that all Jews are Jews. I don't care if they're keeping everything or not. I'm not sure what your opinion is on that. However, you cannot say that a Jewish leader going up on the Temple Mount sparked Islamic terrorism. That is almost like saying...
But it did help spark the Second Intifada.
No, it didn't help spark anything. There's Islamic terrorism. And to say that a prime minister of Israel is not allowed to go on the number one holy spot for the Jews, and that's what caused terrorism, that is like... excuse me 1 second. That is almost like someone saying the girl is responsible for the rape. Now, I have to tell you that Yariv Oppenheimer, by the way, when the Marmara, the ship from Turkey, came in and Israel went out, he was the first one to say, how dare you go against the freedom of speech? All of a sudden, the rights were okay, even though security was on the line. That, he stood up and said, you can't do that.
And back
but
then, Ariel Sharon was the head of the opposition. Yes,
in the Temple of Mount, you need to understand that we are the strong side, and we can make decisions. The Palestinians are not equal to you. They cannot vote for the parliament that are making the decision. And when you are doing, just a second, when you are doing...
What Palestinians are we talking about?
The Palestinian in the West, no, in the West Bank and East Jerusalem.
Yeah,
no, but this is part of this is part of the territories that were occupying after 1967, and it's under dispute. This is the issue. And you know, all governments, including Likud party, agree that this is under dispute. This is the reason why the Palestinians in East Jerusalem are not Israeli
There's
citizens.
historical facts.
Let's let Ari get back.
There's historical facts. In 1967, we did not occupy the Temple Mount from the Palestinians. I'm sorry, that's a fabrication of history. We did not occupy the West Bank from the Palestinians.
We took over it, okay?
No,
it's fine. But what day after?
From the Palestinians.
But when you
no. Did we take it from the Palestinians?
All right, we have 1 minute, 20 seconds, 20
don't
seconds.
put
You're in.
words in my mouth. So what I'm saying
Did we
that
occupy from the Palestinians?
once you are controlling a land and
Whose land?
1 moment.
No, give me let me finish. When you are controlling the land and you are not giving the people living there the same rights that you have in Efrat, this is occupation. And I don't really care what happened
Hold
before
on.
that. I care
right,
about
Ari,
what happened
quick
today.
response.
Today you are occupying the place.
The Arabs have freedom of religion. We don't.
No, but they have no
Excuse me,
citizenship.
Excuse me, 1 second. The Arabs in Jerusalem have citizenship. Stop
No,
fabricating.
no, they are
Number
civilians.
I know.
No, but not citizens.
Number two is, again, the Jews are not allowed to pray there. Stop making believe that the rights are going against them. They have the right to pray. We don't.
On that note, Yariv Oppenheimer, Ari Fald, thank you very much. Clearly, we won't solve this in this short segment, but we'll continue this conversation. Clearly, there's a lot of dispute on this issue within Israel, not only between Israel and the Arab world. That's it for us on Debrief. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place. Find us back here then.
While in Israel, we had a chance to meet and speak with Hillel Fuld, Ari's brother. Hillel is an expert on Israel's high-tech industry.
You know, as a tech ambassador for Israel, what I talk about generally, I think my goal is for people is to bridge the gap. There's a real gap here. What's the gap? There's no one in the world nobody who's a serious individual that denies or doesn't appreciate Israeli technology. What the problem is those same people. I'll give you an example. Okay, Paul Graham. He's a leading investor in Silicon Valley, a very big name. He invests in Israeli companies. He is super anti-Israel, to the point that one might make the claim that it's anti-Semitic. Not going to get into it. But the point is that gap. People have to understand this is the same Israel. We're building world-leading innovation. We're not this, murderous, genocidal. That's not. You got to realize this is the same country. People don't realize that. So, as far as BDS is concerned, why does it exist? Again, Israel is. I'm not going to say Israel. Israel only exists 67 years. The Jews always have to face, unjust hatred and anti-Semitism forever. I'm debating these things online with people who are just blatantly anti-Semitic, and they try to hide it in anti-Zionist or anti-Israel. But the point is, there is no again, I'm not comparing ourselves to anyone. But if you really care about human rights, look at Syria. What are you obsessing with us for? There's hundreds of thousands of people being killed there, and you're silent. All of a sudden, Israel tries to defend itself, and innocent Palestinians are killed. That's what happens in war, and it's an obsession. It's absolute obsession. I know that the UN, resolutions against Israel in the last 5 years, there have been 62 resolutions against Israel and 59 against the rest of the world combined. That's an obsession. It's an obsession. So, I don't think BDS in all its forms will ever disappear. Nor do I think it will or should affect us. I think we need to continue innovating moving forward. If it does kind of gain more traction and become more mainstream, then we'll cope and we'll continue innovating. We'll push harder and we'll build greater products. I'm not worried about it. I don't think anybody in the tech scene in Israel is. Does it affect us? It does affect us. Again, there are people who won't go near Israel, won't come here to perform, but it's the minority, the vast minority. Again, at the end of the day, venture capitalists are looking for a return on their investment. This isn't a political discussion. This is who makes the best products, and they're pouring money into Israel from Asia, from America, from everywhere, because Israel makes the best product. So, talking about, I'm not going to invest in Israel because of BDS or because of my, anti-Israel views is just bad business at the end of the day.
From studying history, it's very clear that what starts with the Jews never ends only with the Jews. We must strongly stand against any anti-Semitic trends. For if not stopped, they'll cause harm to all of us, and we'll witness the downfall of our Judeo-Christian Western culture. Today, many people say there's no longer a need for a Jewish state, that Jews around the world no longer need a place of refuge. But anyone who has heard recent statistics about the worldwide rise in anti-Semitism would never make such a claim. The reality is that neo-Nazi groups and Nazi sympathizers are increasing around the world. Surveys show that over 1 billion people in the world harbor anti-Semitic attitudes. Close to 50% believe that Jews have too much power in the business world, and 2/3 of the world's population has never heard of the Holocaust or believed the historic accounts of it are inaccurate. If there's one thing history has taught the Jewish people, a place they can go in time of need is essential, and Israel fulfills that role. But the need for a Jewish state is not limited to being only a refuge for Jews. Jewish tradition in Israel grants full rights for women and people of all races, faiths, and gender. This tradition is what often makes Israel among the first countries to send doctors and field hospitals to any place where a natural disaster occurs, utilizing their medical advances to save lives worldwide. Muslims, Christians, and people of every faith, or those of no faith, have the freedom to worship or not worship as they choose. For Muslims, the Jewish state goes out of its way to provide this freedom. For example, every Israeli university gives students the option of deferring their exams during the month of Ramadan. The Knesset calls off all sessions at sunset during Ramadan to ensure that Muslim Knesset members can break their fasts with the traditional iftar dinner. In an open and democratic manner, opportunities for education, advancement, and careers exist for all citizens in the Jewish state. Sadly, such rights and opportunities do not exist in any of the Muslim Arab states. For example, in neighboring Jordan, Jews cannot become citizens. And in Saudi Arabia, no non-Muslim can become a citizen. Saying that Israel must cease to exist as a Jewish state while accepting that other countries define themselves as Muslim is pure hypocrisy. In most of these countries, no rights exist for non-Muslims, women, and the LGBT community. Don't let yourself be manipulated by evil people with a wicked agenda. When the self-serving villains are in control, good people from all religions suffer. Muslims, Christians, and all people of conscience should stand proudly and show respect for a country that gives so much to the world in so many ways. Do your part, do your research, and do what you can to make a difference. Because what happens in Israel does affect us all. This is not just a Jewish or just an Israeli problem. This is a problem for all humanity, for each and every one of us who believe in freedom and human rights. Learn more about what you can do at pjtn.org. Welcome back. We designed PJTN Online with you in mind. I want to encourage you to email your comments or questions to comments@pjtn.org. Visit our website at pjtn.org where you can get more information about our organization and sign up to get our newsletters, media, and action alerts. Also, I want to encourage you to like us on Facebook if you haven't done it already, and share this program with your Facebook friends. Also, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Visit our pjtn.org/TV on YouTube and sign up to become a member. So you may be asking yourself, what can I do? How can I make a difference? You can start by becoming informed by visiting our website at pjtn.org and getting on our email list so you'll stay up to date on activities that are going on and how you can plug in. Partner with PJTN by signing up to become a PJTN Watchman and supporting our programs with a monthly donation. Our goal for 2018 is to sign up 7,000 new PJTN Global Watchmen. Tell your family and friends about this program and encourage them to tune in every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Central Time. If you want to learn more, you can also tune into our award-winning program, Focus on Israel, each week on Daystar, Saturday evenings at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, and also Sunday nights at midnight Eastern Time and 9 p.m. Pacific Time. Or you can also tune in on God TV every Wednesday at 2:30 Eastern Time and 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time. You can also visit our events page on our website for upcoming events where I will be speaking in communities across the country. If you would like to arrange a speaking event for me to come to educate and activate your community, synagogue, church, or campus, please go to comments at pjtn.org. In closing, please continue to keep Israel in your prayers. Ari Fuld will not be forgotten. Unfortunately, his plans to launch a new Israel advocacy website in English will not be seen. Another voice has been silenced. U.S. Ambassador to Israel David Friedman offered his condolences, saying, "America grieves Ari Fuld was a passionate defender of Israel and an American patriot. He represented the best of both countries and will be deeply missed. May his family be comforted and his memory be blessed." Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman wrote that his heart is with the Epsiode bloc. My condolences to the family of the victim. We will continue to fight terrorism with an iron fist. At PJTN, we also offer deep condolences to Ari's family. Ari was an inspiration to all of us, and we know that we must continue this fight on behalf of Israel and our Jewish brethren. I want to thank you again for joining us. God bless you, and thank you for all you do on behalf of our Jewish brethren and the state of Israel. We'll see you next week, right here on PJTN Online.
To support this program, send your tax-deductible gift to Proclaiming Justice to the Nations, P.O. Box 682711, Franklin, Tennessee 37068. You can also support PJTN online. Visit pjtn.org or call 1-877-873-9020.
Anti-Semitism has reached epic proportions, and Israel is now surrounded by nations who seek its destruction. For Israel to lose just one battle would mean losing everything. As Christians, it is our biblical responsibility to stand with our Jewish brethren and Israel. PJTN needs your help to reach more Christians with this urgent message. Please visit our website to become a member today and order our award-winning documentaries. You must decide that you won't be silent. Sign up now at pjtn.org. God bless you, and thank you for your support and prayers.